There's something big on the horizon with What Happened on My Universe Mode Special! Yep, it's time for another pay-per-view special as we see the Nitro brand, formerly main event, host Great Balls of Fire in Montreal, Quebec, Canada. And in the opening contest of the night, we saw Sting, who's now on his own. As we saw over the past few weeks, he split up from the Ultimate Warrior. He was having a rematch from this past Nitro against the Big Bossman. Although they shook hands at the end of the match, they felt the match was good enough to go on pay-per-view. And from the off, Sting was on it, hitting a neck breaker, Russian leg sweep, and then a clothesline into the corner. But the Big Bossman, after getting slammed on the floor, came out fighting, reversing a punch and hitting a huge DDT. Bossman took down Sting with an elbow to the head and then started ramming his head into the corner post quite a few times. I think it might have even been a full 10. Once Sting was down, Bossman continued his attack. First on the legs and then on the back. Sting tried to crawl to the outside, but he just ended up getting punched to it by the Bossman. But from then, Sting was able to get a reversal, back body dropping Big Bossman over. Then, hitting a neck breaker on the outside, he headed back into the ring. In the ring, Sting hit an elbow drop and another neck breaker, but his advantage was short-lived and the Big Bossman reversed a suplex to hit a neck breaker of his own. The Bossman smelt blood, hitting snake eyes and a huge belly-to-belly, but when he went for a bear hug, Sting reversed, hit an elbow, a DDT, and then another DDT, this time jumping into it. The man known as Sting then hit a clothesline and a Stinger splash, leaving him with only one thing to do. Hitting a Scorpion Death Drop, he pinned the Big Bossman. 1, 2, 3, and Sting was victorious. Afterwards, his former partner, the Ultimate Warrior, came to the ring but pulled him off the top rope while he was celebrating and then proceeded to attack him with a sidewalk slam and a gorilla press slam. Warrior continued with a suplex and then the Warrior splashed to the back, and he had sent out a signal to his former Blade Runner's partner. Time for match number 2, and the Von Erichs were coming out for a tag team title shot against the Natural Disasters when disaster struck, and the Natural Disasters, Earthquake and Typhoon, attacked them from behind with their belts. Despite getting a bit of a fight back, they weren't able to completely get any advantage, and the Natural Disasters continued their attack, eventually putting Kevin Von Erich in the ring and starting the match at a rather big disadvantage. Earthquake hit Kevin Von Erich with a backbreaker, took out Kerry Von Erich before they could get a tag, and then clotheslined him and took him down with his chest before hitting the Earthquake Splash. And, well, that was it for the Von Erichs. The match only lasted a couple of minutes, but that was all they could do. And despite the dubious circumstances, Earthquake and Typhoon had retained the tag team titles. Time for a number 1 contenders match for the European title. Tatsumi Fujinami was part of it, alongside Bret the Hitman Hart, who was on his own for a change. And also in the match, because it was a triple threat, was the Olympic hero Kurt Angle. The opening offense went to Bret Hart, hitting a suplex on Tatsumi Fujinami and a crossbody on Kurt Angle, but Tatsumi Fujinami then got a few kicks on Bret Hart and a shin breaker. Kurt Angle then got in on the act, hitting a DDT on Fujinami, but Bret Hart took advantage of that distraction, hitting a forearm and a drop kick. Fujinami jumped in once again, hitting a back suplex on Hart before Kurt Angle took him down and slapped him before taking out Bret Hart with a European uppercut. The match went full circle once more after Kurt Angle hit that slam from the corner on Fujinami, as Bret Hart hit him with a forearm and an elbow to take advantage. Bret Hart then hit a stalling suplex on Fujinami and took advantage of Kurt Angle still being down, hitting him with a huge piledriver. Bret Hart went for the pin, but Kurt Angle was able to kick out at 2. Tatsumi Fujinami then came back in, hit a backbreaker on Bret Hart and a crucifix on Kurt Angle, but Bret Hart got a backbreaker as revenge. The Hitman's intentions were clear as he put Fujinami on the top rope, but he kicked out and then hit a dropkick from the top rope on Hart. He then hit Kurt Angle with a knee and locked him into the Dragon Sleeper. Unfortunately for Fujinami though, Kurt Angle was able to roll him out of it and throw him into the corner, but when Kurt Angle did that, he got elbowed in the face by Bret Hart. Hart then drop-kicked Fujinami, but then got caught by a German suplex from Kurt Angle. In came Fujinami with another crucifix, this time on Bret Hart, but he then ate a Kurt Angle DDT and rolled out the ring. Kurt Angle then hit Bret Hart with a knee to the head, but had his next move reversed. Hart rolled him into an inside cradle, and the pinfall was counted. 1, 2, 3. Bret Hart won the match and is now number 1 contender for the European title. Our following contest was supposed to be Chris Jericho versus The Rock, as set up on the last edition of Nitro. However, The Rock apparently couldn't be bothered to do it, so instead European champion Mark Henry stepped up to the plate. And as the two were getting ready to fight, the lights went out, the music started playing, and out came The Rock. He apparently couldn't be bothered to have the match, but he could be bothered to take a seat at ringside and watch. It would appear, though, that Chris Jericho was not happy about this turn of events, and made it very clear. And after all that distraction, Mark Henry was the first one to get a shot in, hitting an elbow to the back of the head. When he went for his next move, though, Chris Jericho was able to reverse it and hit a forearm, which didn't knock him down. Neither did the next one. In fact, the next one pissed him off, and Mark Henry fought back. Mark Henry nailed Chris Jericho with a big Samoan drop and a big belly-to-belly before clotheslining him to the outside and nailing him with an awfully painful-looking powerbomb. He went for it again, but this time Chris Jericho reversed out of it, punching Henry in the face. Jericho cemented his advantage, hitting an enziguri and throwing Henry into the steps. Back in the ring, he then threw Henry into the corner, and while he was down, oh look, it's The Rock, and he was distracting Chris Jericho. Jericho headed to the outside to have words, but while he was out there, Mark Henry snuck up behind him and attacked. Following the attack, Mark Henry slammed Chris Jericho onto an announce table and hit him with a huge elbow drop to the back. Henry locked Jericho in some sort of stretch, but he was able to wriggle out and get an attack to the back of his own. He threw Mark Henry into the steel steps, and the pair headed back in the ring, where Jericho hit a neckbreaker on Mark Henry and the Lion Salt. He went for the pin, but Mark Henry kicked out at 2 and quickly grabbed Jericho into a big power slam. He then lifted Jericho into another slam. This time it was the world's strongest slam. He pinned him, and Jericho didn't have enough in it to get up. Maybe, if The Rock hadn't distracted him earlier, the outcome may have been different. There was more animosity in our next match, as Andre the Giant was taking on the person he has been constantly bickering with recently, Goldberg. Goldberg tried to get the advantage early, but apparently trying to lift Andre is a bit difficult, and it got reversed. Andre then started kneeing him in the head and clotheslined him into the corner. Andre then threw Goldberg down with a choke toss, but when he went for a chop, Goldberg was able to catch his arm and threw him to the outside, or at least tried to. His first attempt was foiled. His second attempt had a bit more vigour to it, and he managed it. He then took him down on the outside, and, well, he tried to lift him again, and it got reversed. Andre hit Goldberg with a second rope splash, but got reversed on his next one. Goldberg nailed him with a super kick, and then took him down with a choke. Then, as he got up, Goldberg hit the spear. He went for the pin, but Andre was able to kick out at 2, so maybe it was time for the jackhammer. Well, he went for it, but he didn't hit it. Instead, Andre wriggled out and hit a couple of takedowns on Goldberg, and then a huge splash. He then crushed him with his butt and threw him across the ring. But Goldberg wasn't out yet. He got a reversal, smacked Andre in the face, threw him across the ring, and then threw him across the ring again, this time from the top rope. But Andre reversed after that, hitting an arm wringer and then sitting on him with force. Andre pinned him, but Goldberg kicked out at 2, so Andre headbutted him, threw him down, and hit him with another huge splash. He went for the pin, and this time Goldberg did not kick out. Andre the Giant was victorious in this battle, but he wasn't done. As he went to the outside, he realised he could get a few more shots in, so he ran back in with a chair and decimated Goldberg. The penultimate contest of the show saw another feud that has been going on for a while. Triple H, the Game, the Cerebral Assassin, was taking on his former friend, Big Sexy Kevin Nash. This match began with Triple H taking a run at Kevin Nash, but all he got was an elbow in the face, followed by another elbow in the face, and then being choked by his knee. They battled a bit more and, well, a little stalemate after an Irish whip. Instead, Triple H then threw Kevin Nash to the outside. On the outside, Triple H beat Kevin Nash out for a bit and then hit him with a huge DDT on the concrete floor. He put Kevin Nash back in the ring, hitting an elbow for good measure, and then another DDT on the mat. The Game continued his assault, hitting an elbow to the back and a knee to the gut, plus a bit of rope assist, but Kevin Nash soaked it all in and reversed with a headbutt. He then took Triple H down, hit him with a knee to the back of the head and a super backdrop. A woozy Triple H stood up and took a punch, but then grabbed Kevin Nash and hit him with the spine buster. He went for the pin, but Kevin Nash was able to kick out at 2. After that, there was only one thing left for Triple H to do. He went for the pedigree. However, Kevin Nash wriggled out, back body dropped him, hit him with a big boot, and then the jackknife powerbomb. He went for the pin, and Triple H did not kick out. Kevin Nash picked up a huge win over the Game. He celebrated, and the Game, well, he wasn't happy, as you can imagine. He pointed angrily at Kevin Nash, but Kevin Nash was a bit too happy. He told Triple H to come in, but he didn't mean it. He just celebrated instead. And with that match in the books, it left us with only one match, our main event. 4 great balls of fire, and despite there being no build-up for it, we had to have a world title match, which featured the tag team partner from previous pay-per-views, Stone Cold Steve Austin. He was taking on the WWE 87 to 98 champion, The Undertaker, in what was going to be, obviously, a barn burner, made even more barn burnerish by the fact it was going to be Falls Count Anywhere. The Undertaker had the early advantage in this match, and it didn't take long for the match to go anywhere like the Falls would count. He threw Stone Cold to the outside and hit him with a clothesline, but Stone Cold clotheslined him back and then beat him down in the corner of ringside. The match was barely a couple of minutes old when Stone Cold hit the champ with a huge pile driver on the concrete floor. He then continued his assault with knees and punches, but when he went for another punch, the Undertaker reversed and took him down. Steve Austin was able to quickly grab control back and beat The Undertaker down some more. Despite him hitting his head on the steel steps on the way down, he was able to reverse the next move. He then hit a sidewalk slam and grabbed the steel steps, which he proceeded to ram into Stone Cold's head, and Stone Cold had a bad landing after that. Back in the ring, The Undertaker hit a fall-away slam, a neck breaker, and a huge choke slam before ramming those steel steps into Steve Austin's head once again. After that, though, Stone Cold reversed somehow and hit the Luthez press, beating The Undertaker's head in several times. And of course, you follow that up with a Stone Cold Stunner, but The Undertaker kicked out, which we badly clipped. Stone Cold carried on, slamming The Undertaker on the steel steps and clotheslining him off the apron, but The Undertaker reversed and hit a choke slam on the concrete floor. He would then follow that up by taking the stuff off the table. I think he had some evil plans, which he did. He tombstoned Stone Cold through the announce table. Luckily no one was there. He went for the pin, but Stone Cold kicked out at 2. A frustrated Undertaker then had to go with evil plan B, which was tombstoning him through the other announce table as well, which he did. He then pinned Stone Cold, but again he kicked out at 2. The Undertaker was frustrated and went for plan C, which was just the last ride on the concrete floor. He pinned him, and Stone Cold was never going to kick out of that. The Undertaker was finally victorious and was champion still. That's it for another edition of What Happened on My Universe Mode. Raw next. Like and subscribe.